Hello everyone, you're just joining the Little Nook by Ferry. And yes, Ferry, let's start with today's topic. But before going further, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the videos, and share. So previously we just discussed about Romantic Age, its poets or romantic poets as we can say, and its prose writers. So now I'm gonna discuss about the novelist of that particular age. So as we talk about the novelists, the great novelists of the Romantic period are Jane Austen and Scott. But before them, there appeared some novelists who came under the spell of medievalism and wrote novels of terror and Gothic novels. So the origin of this type of fiction can be ascribed to Horace and the castle of the Otranto. Here, the story is set in medieval Italy and it includes a gigantic helmet that can be strike dead its victims, Tarrant's supernatural instructions, mysterious and secrets. So there were a number of imitators of such a type of novel during the 18th century as well as in the Romantic period. So, the most popular of the writers of the terror or gothic novels during the Romantic era was Mrs. Anne Radcliffe, of whose five novels the best known are The Mysteries of Adolfo and the Italian. She initiated the mechanism of the terror tale as practiced by Horace and his followers, but combined it with sentimental but effective description of scenery. The Mysteries of Adolfo relates the story of an innocent and sensitive girl who falls in the hands of an heartless villain named Montani. He keeps her in a grim and isolated castle full of mystery and terror. So the novels of Mrs. Radcliffe or Radcliffe, as we can say, become very popular. They influenced some of the great writers like Byron and Shelley. Though Mrs. Radcliffe was the prominent writer of Gothic novels, there were a few other novelists who earned popularity by writing such novels. There were Matthew Gregory, Lewis, who wrote The Monk, Tales of Terror, Tales of Wonder, and Charles Robert, whose Melmoth the Wanderer exerted great influence in France. But the most popular of all terror tales was Frankenstein, written by Mrs. Shelley. Jane Austen brought good sense and balance to the English novel, which during the Romantic age had become too emotional and undisciplined, giving a loose rein to the imagination. The novelists of the period carried themselves away from the world around them into a romantic past or into a romantic future. So, the novel, which in the hands of Richardson and Fielding had been a faithful record of real life and of working of the heart and imagination, became in the closing years of the 18th century the literature of crime, insanity, and terror. It therefore needed castigation and reform, which were provided by Jane Austen. Living a quiet life, she published her six novels anonymously, which have now placed her among the front rank of the English novelist. She did for the English novel precisely what the Lake poets did for English poetry. She refined and simplified it, making it a true reflection of English life, as Wordsworth made a deliberate effort to make poetry natural and truthful. So, Jane Austen, also from the time she started writing her first novel, Pride and Prejudice, had her mind the idea of presenting English country society exactly as it was, the idea of presenting English country society exactly as it was, and in opposition to the romantic extravagance of Mrs. Radcliffe and her school. So, during the time of the great turmoil and revelation in various fields, she quietly went on with her work, making no great effort to get a publisher. And when a publisher was got, contenting herself with merge remunerations and never permitting her name to appear on the title page. So she is one of the sincerest example in English literature or art for the art's sakes. So in all, Jane Austen's wrote her work, wrote six novels: Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Emma, and Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, and Persuasion. Of these, Pride and Prejudice is the best one and most widely read of her novel. So, as a novelist, she was and she has worked in a narrow field. She was the daughter of a humble clergyman living in a little village, except for short visits to the neighboring places, and she lived a static life, but she had such a keen power of observation, and simple country people became the characters of a novel. And among her contemporaries, only Scott realized the greatness and permanent worth of her work, and most aptly remarked that the young lady has a talent for describing the environments and the feelings, characters of ordinary life, which is to me the most wonderful I ever met with. And the big bobo strain I can do myself like any now going, but the exquisite touch which renders ordinary commonplace things and characters interesting from the truth of the description and the sentiment is denied to me. What a pity such a gifted creature died so early. Next one could be Sir Walter Scott. His qualities as a novelist were vastly different from those of the Jane Austen. During his first 5 or 6 years of novel writing, Scott confined himself to familiar scenes and characters. So the novel, which have a local color and are based on the personal observations, are Guy Mannering, The Antiquary, Old Mortality, and The Heart of the Middle. Thean, his first attempt at a historical novel was Ivone, followed by Kenilworth. So, in all these novels, Scott reveals himself as a consummate storyteller. He's leisurely unfolding the story of allows digression, particularly in the description of the natural scenes of interiors. So, the novel of Scott betray the same imaginative joy in the recreation of the past as his poetry, but the novel offered him is a more adaptable and a wider field than that of the narrative poetry. So it gave him a better opportunity for the display of his varied gift, his knowledge, observation of life, characters, his delight in popular as well as courtly scenes, and his rich humor. That was all for today. Me, Fairy, signing out from the Literary Nook by Fairy.